You were the good kid. The one who didn't talk back. The one who didn't cause trouble. The one who made things easier for everyone. And somewhere along the way, you learned something you were never told out loud. That being good wasn't just behavior. It was survival. Because when you were calm, quiet, and easy to manage, things stayed peaceful. And peace became more important than how you actually felt. But here's what no one sees. The good kid doesn't disappear. They just learn to disappear inside themselves. And years later, they grow up wondering why they feel so disconnected, even when everything in their life looks fine. Pause for a moment and think about this. When was the last time you did something just because you wanted to, not because it was expected? For many people, that question feels strangely difficult. Not because they don't have desires, but because they were trained to ignore them. Let's go back for a second. Imagine a child sitting at the dinner table. They're upset. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they're hurt. Maybe they just need attention. But instead of being asked what's wrong, they hear things like, "Don't make a scene. Be good. Stop crying. You're such a good kid when you behave." And slowly, the child learns something very important. Not what they feel matters, but what keeps approval. So they adapt. They smile when they're uncomfortable. They stay quiet when they're hurting. They become easy. Not because that's who they are, but because that's who they had to be. Now here's where psychology becomes very interesting. Research on emotional development shows that children don't just learn behavior, they learn emotional suppression when their feelings are not validated. In simple terms, if your emotions weren't welcomed, your brain learns to turn them down. Not erase them. Just silence them. And silence becomes a habit. Fast forward years later. That same good kid is now an adult. They are responsible, reliable, calm on the outside. But inside, something feels off. They can't explain what they want. They struggle with decisions that others find simple. They feel guilty saying no. And worst of all, they feel tired in a way rest doesn't fix. Because this isn't physical tiredness. It's emotional exhaustion from constantly being okay. Pause here for a second. Does it ever feel like you're living a life that looks right, but doesn't fully feel like yours? That feeling is not random. It's what happens when a person spends years adjusting themselves to be accepted, instead of understood. Now here's the deeper layer most people miss. Being the good kid often creates something subtle but powerful. You become highly aware of others, and disconnected from yourself. You can sense moods instantly. You can read the room in seconds. You know what people want before they say it. But when someone asks, "What do you want?" there's a gap. A silence. Not because you don't exist, but because your attention was trained outward for so long, there was no space left inward. And that creates a quiet internal confusion. You start living life by reacting, not choosing. But here's something important to understand. This isn't a personality flaw. It's an adaptation. Your mind learned, if I keep others happy, I stay safe. And for a child, that is incredibly intelligent survival thinking. But what protected you then, may be limiting you now. Let's go a little deeper. Many good kids grow into adults who struggle with guilt. Guilt for resting. Guilt for saying no. Guilt for choosing themselves. Even when nothing is wrong. If I'm not good, I might not be accepted. You were meant to be real enough for yourself.